Tonight, fire crews tackle a massive blaze at a recycling plant in Ayrshire. It's almost exactly a year since another major fire there.
Explosion, the batteries going everywhere, flames, smoke. It was just so scary again.
Also making the headlines, warnings that paedophiles are using dating apps to groom single parents and try to access their children. Care home bosses say new rules on paying overseas workers could leave them financially crippled. And in sport, Barry Ferguson reveals clear-the-air talks with his Rangers team ahead of their Europa League quarter-final. I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. Fire crews are tackling a large blaze at a battery recycling plant in North Ayrshire. The fire in Kilwinning broke out around 1:45 this afternoon. Locals describe feeling sheer panic and terror after hearing loud bangs and seeing huge smoke clouds coming from the area. It's exactly a year since a major fire at the same plant, Phoenix Battery Recycling. Our reporter Vanessa Taff is at the scene.
Well, you may be able to see behind me that fire crews are still here tonight and they're dealing with this incident. It's been a very dramatic and scary day for people living near this battery plant in Kilwinning, and some have been evacuated from their homes here tonight. Thick smoke and loud banging noises could be seen and heard as this plant caught fire. Now, it's a gorgeous day, and as you'd expect, many of the locals were out in their garden enjoying the sunshine. Some were hanging up their washing when this fire began. Now, they told me that there was a really strong smell of toxic smoke and that they were petrified when they saw what was happening.
Then a lady went and ran by and went and said, it's happening again, and I'm like, oh, I just instantly knew what she was meaning. So I went out the front and the girl across the road was like, just stay indoors, but my papa lives directly behind me, so he's himself, so I quickly ran round there to make sure he was all right and turned around, and there it was again, explosion, the batteries going everywhere, flames, smoke. It was just so scary again.
Well, fire crews have been here all afternoon dealing with this fire, and they expect to be here for quite some time tonight. Now, they've told me that they want to reassure everyone who's living locally and people in the nearby area that they're doing everything that they can to keep it under control.
I think today what we have seen here in our response to this instance is new technology. And as a fire and rescue service, we're making sure we are ready to respond to different types of technology. What we have here today is obviously we have had a large volume of water to extinguish the fire, but really working with our colleagues in public health to make sure that we monitor the outcomes of the smoke and to make sure people get the right safety messages.
And Vanessa, it's not the first time there's been an incident like this at the site.
No, remarkably, this very day last year, the exact same thing happened. One of the police officers who's just over there told me that he was also here this day last year as they tried to deal with this. Now, at the time, the director of Phoenix Battery Plant told STV News that they had planned to rebuild this site after that first incident here, but the company has since gone into administration. Now, the director at the time also made promises that they'd be increasing fire safety precautions as a result of that last explosion, but there are many people questioning that commitment here tonight.
Vanessa in Ayrshire, thank you. There's a warning that paedophiles are using dating apps to groom single mums and access their children. A report by the child safety organisation Child Light and Edinburgh University has found that sexual offenders are 4 times more likely to use matchmaking sites than other men. It's led to calls for tougher regulations, including ID checks and AI tools to help detect predatory behaviour. Amy Flett reports.
Dating apps. They're a place millions of users have found love and companionship. But for some, it's quite the opposite of happily ever after. There's a warning that paedophiles are using matchmaking sites to groom single mums and gain access to their children. It comes just 5 months after Paul Stewart, a lorry driver from Angus, was jailed for 3.5 years for manipulating single mothers through dating apps and sexually abusing and photographing their children.
So how have things been for you this week?
Dr. Harris regularly works with sexual offenders and says predators will often use a variety of techniques and strategies to access children.
If a man wants to abuse a child, then he will find a way to do that. And I think if you think about dating apps, it's quite a secretive thing to do, but it means they don't need to explain their actions to anybody because they can hide behind an app, they can hide behind technology, they can create profiles that are false, and they can then develop the trust with the females that are the mother of the children, because that's how people who commit sex offences will work. They work by gaining trust of those who might be caring for children.
A study by Childlight and Edinburgh University found that men who have sexually offended against children are around 4 times more likely to use online dating sites than other men, and that more than 1 in 5 male abusers use matchmaking sites daily. But child safety experts say it is avoidable and want to see more regulations for matchmaking apps.
None of these are new technologies, new risks, new harms that we're seeing. So this comes from understanding not just what we can see in our research and how they're being used now, but also future-proofing. So looking at new things which are coming and starting to use technologies we've already got, whether that's age verification, whether it's AI to pick up harmful behaviours, that all exists. The technology is not the issue.
For now, while not everyone you encounter online may pose a threat, experts are advising single mothers to err on the side of caution when online dating and to be wary of trusting every profile they come across. Amy Flett, STV News.
New Home Office immigration rules for staff in social care are being blasted as discriminatory and damaging. Overseas workers must now be paid more than local staff, as the minimum salary floor goes up to £12.82, higher than the minimum wage. Those in the sector warn some services may even be forced to close as they struggle with recruitment challenges and rising costs. Caitlin Hutchison reports.
Hiya, just time for your medication.
Jennifer has been employed here for more than a year on a sponsorship visa. And although she loves her job and her children have now joined her and her husband from Nigeria, she says feeling settled is made impossible because of complex and ever-changing visa rules.
At times we wake up and we do not know what the rules may be tomorrow because the government changes the process every year or every now and then. So I don't know if my next 5 years is guaranteed, but we pray it is. It's a very big worry.
Also worried, those filling the rota and writing paychecks. Manager Heather is among those across the country trying to find solutions.
People that we do have may have to, take up a senior role so that they can get that minimum rate, and also have an effect on the recruitment of new staff, because the bulk at the moment of the applications that we get are from overseas staff looking for sponsorship.
Care providers cannot and will not pay their staff at differential rates, and that's the fundamental issue here. This requirement expects international staff to be paid more than local staff, and it's leading to concerns that some services in Scotland may even need to close, especially in rural and remote areas where they're unable to recruit locally and they cannot afford the overseas workers that they currently rely on.
Their rate of pay is going to be 22 pence an hour higher than everyone else. If the £12.82 is on the table, it should be there for all members of staff. What that could lead to is just simply not employing people anymore from overseas because it's going to cost too much. We're already stretched, so something like this could really push it over the edge.
Scottish Care says it's working closely with the Scottish Government regarding the implications of the changes it calls discriminatory and damaging in nature.
It has not taken account of the desperate need we have for international colleagues in social care, and it has also continued to treat the women and men who choose to come and look after some of our most valuable citizens in a discriminatory manner. Come and look after our families and our older relatives, but do not bring your own family with you. That is shameful.
The Home Office says the move is to end reliance on overseas labour. But for those on the front line dealing with the recruitment and retainment crisis, they're worried about what that would look like without people like Jennifer.
I see them as my grandparents, my uncles that are old, that cannot really help themselves. Understand? Care job is not easy. It has to come from your heart, so I'm happy doing it.
Caitlin Hutchison, STV News.
Women who have reported rape or sexual abuse in Scotland and been told there would not be a prosecution due to a lack of corroboration are being urged to ask for their cases to be looked at again. A campaigner who fought for changes in the way the law is applied after no action was taken over her allegations of rape says she has now been told there would be enough evidence to bring the alleged perpetrator to court. She's been speaking to our senior reporter, Gordon Cree.
Both these women are survivors of sexual offences which happened when they were children. In Emma's case, it was known about.
Members of my family were aware of what happened at the time that it happened. So that was, at that time, they had seen evidence of my distress. They were aware of what had happened. It was never really a secret. I did talk about what had happened.
Scots law requires corroboration to independent sources of evidence that a crime has been committed and that an accused person was responsible. By the nature of sexual crimes, verifying an allegation of rape or assault has always been difficult and meant that many reports never make it to court.
I didn't know what corroboration actually really meant. It was not explained to me at any of the interviews. And so it was just through investigations that finally I was told, I'm sorry that nothing is going forward because of the corroboration rule, and there's nothing that we can do. And that was it. I was just dropped.
After years of campaigning from Emma and Susie, last summer the Lord Advocate, the head of Scotland's prosecution service, asked a panel of judges to rule on how the law is interpreted. They agreed things said by a complainer to other people in the immediate aftermath of an incident or a third party seeing signs of distress could corroborate an allegation of a sexual crime.
If there are witnesses who were aware of what happened at the time that it happened, or who were aware of the distress or changes in your behaviour, so distress doesn't necessarily mean that you were emotional and crying. It could be things like a change in your behaviour. You might have been withdrawing. You might have suffered depression. So, and again, sort of within a certain time frame of the event, that is now the key difference that's changed.
Unfortunately, in your case, the perpetrator has since died. Yeah. Do you feel cheated by the way this is played out?
If I'm honest, my first response was relief. When I was told that he died, I was relieved because it meant that he couldn't ever hurt any more children. And that was really, really important to me. On a personal level, of course, I was disappointed. It has taken me some time to come to terms with that. But I think ultimately, despite my personal disappointment, I know that the work that I've done over the last 7 years has made a material difference.
I'm so proud of what we've managed to do, and it has been for other people. We never thought initially that we had a chance. I know that with our discussions with the Lord Advocate recently, that they're hoping and really asking us to help other people come forward, because it is worth it. It is worthwhile to come forward and report. Please do. The requirements of corroboration effectively protected sex offenders. This has dramatically improved, and I would encourage anybody, if you haven't reported before, I would encourage you to come forward now. Your chances are much better. And if you have reported previously and you think that the evidence in your case might, meet those requirements around the time and evidence of distress, then absolutely it is. I would encourage anybody to come forward. There will be people who have reported it previously. There will be people who, whose family members or partners or friends were aware of something that happened. And I would say that there is a good chance. So I think anyone in that position who might wish to have their cases reviewed, I think in the first instance should make contact with their local Procurator Fiscal's office and take advice from there.
You can see more on the changes to corroboration on Scotland Tonight at 10:40 on STV and the STV player. The former world snooker champion Graham Dott is facing child sex abuse charges. The 47-year-old is accused of sexually abusing a girl in Glasgow between 1993 and 1996 and sexually abusing a boy in Lanarkshire between 2006 and 2010. Dott has been suspended by snooker's governing body. Police say they're investigating links between a fire at a carpet factory in Bishopbriggs and a series of fire-raising attacks in Edinburgh connected to a gangland feud. The business in Eastern Bartonshire was deliberately targeted and is believed to have crime family connections. Detectives said they're looking into a number of firearms and fire-raising incidents in both the east and west of the country. The multi-million-pound renovation of a key road in East Renfrewshire has been delayed for the second time. Orrs Road will be shut until spring 2026, more than twice as long as developers initially hoped. The plan is to upgrade the single carriageway and create a new promenade for cycling and walking. But for local residents and businesses, news of the delay was met with frustration. Tara Fitzpatrick has more.
It was billed as an ambitious and transformative upgrade to the link between Barrhead and Newton Mearns. The £22 million Orrs Road project commenced in January 2024 and was initially set to take 12 months to complete. But after a number of setbacks, it will now be spring next year before the route is ready.
I'm disappointed, but at the same time, it seems to be the way of things now, that the plans never go the way you think they're going to go.
Well, it's frustrating because we've been promised that it's going to be done earlier, springtime, and now we have to wait another year.
I won't be surprised if a few months down the line you say, oh no, actually it'll be the summer of 2026. These things often do get run by there. So it's a big upheaval for folk, you know.
My mum stays over Newton Mearns, so back forward to there, you've got to use the other back road, and it's a bit of a mess obviously with the traffic being over it the last year, and it's going to be even worse.
The works are being funded through the Glasgow Region City deal with money from the UK and Scottish governments, along with East Renfrewshire Council. The plan is to make the existing road between Barrhead and Newton Mearns straighter and safer for drivers. The project aims to upgrade the Widey single carriageway, replace a weak bridge structure and install a 2.5 mile walking and cycling route around Balgrey Reservoir. But locals and businesses have endured 8 miles of diversions throughout this development, and many are now calling for compensation.
We weren't told early enough about the road closure. We weren't clued up enough to know that it was going to affect us. So we did notice the impact right away. So that's when they extended it. I was infuriated and I thought I need to try and drum up more noise. I need to take it to the public eye. I need to get the word out there because there's going to be more of business affected. And if they've managed to find the funds to continue the job for another 18 months, surely they should have funds to help small businesses.
We completely recognise the frustrations of residents and businesses in the area. This is something that we didn't want to happen, but it's something we have to do in order to make sure that when the road is opened, that it is open safely and that we deliver the project that we have anticipated.
When completed, developers hope this area will be a popular beauty spot and hub for active travel. But until then, the diversions will continue. Tara Fitzpatrick, STV News.
And Ronnie is standing by with the sport.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Good evening. Barry Ferguson has revealed he's held clear-the-air talks with the Rangers squad after they slumped to their 5th consecutive defeat at Ibrox at the weekend. The interim boss says he's got to the bottom of the recent poor performances as they prepare to face Athletic Bilbao in the Europa League quarter-finals. Ferguson says he's prepared to make some difficult and big changes to his starting 11. This was the full-time reaction to Rangers' defeat on Saturday. The 2-0 loss to Hibs, condemning the Ibrox club to their 5th straight home defeat for the first time in their history.
20 passes! There you go!
Barry Ferguson today revealed he'd held a full team meeting on Monday to thrash out the problems within his squad. But does the former skipper feel he's gotten to the bottom of Rangers' inconsistencies?
I've got a good idea, and that's why I done a lot of thinking over the weekend, and that's why I held a real good meeting with my group of players and my staff. And as I said, there was a lot of things that came out which was good, because I want people to be opinionated, I want people to debate with each other, and I found it really helpful. And now hopefully we've got to the bottom of it, we can move on. That's in the past now, and we need to obviously I look forward to the future.
It was just a very straightforward and honest conversation which needed to be held, because we all know that recent performances, domestically especially, haven't been good enough. I mean, if you lose 5 on the spin at Ibrox, at this club, it's not something you should be able to accept. So, yeah, it was very open, no filter, but with a very positive outcome.
After the disappointing result against Hibs, many fans have been calling for change within the team, with goalkeeper Jack Butland in the spotlight for his mistake, which led to the opener. Ferguson admitted again he's ready to ring the changes as they get set to face Athletic Bilbao in their Europa League quarter-final.
I've told everybody now, there's places up for grabs. You need to, when you go into my team and you play, you need to earn your right to play in the team. And I've had to make, or I probably will have to make, some difficult decisions going forward. I've had to make some difficult decisions since I've come into the job. But it's one thing I'm not afraid to do, to try and better the team.
Elsewhere, it's been confirmed that Václav Černý will not face punishment after spraying Celtic fans with water during the Old Firm derby, with the winger instead given a formal warning by the Scottish FA. Staying with football, and Scotland women's team have appointed Australian assistant manager Melissa Andretta as their new head coach on a 4-year deal. Well, the news comes after the Dark Blues were hammered 6-1 by Germany in their Nations League match last night. Despite taking the lead, the Scots collapsed in the second half, conceding 6 goals in 26 minutes to continue their losing streak. Well, Andretta starts in her new role next month and is the permanent successor to Pedro Martinez-Losa.
Hi, this is Mel, and I'm so honoured to join you, the Scottish women's national team, as your next head coach. What a country full of footballing history and some of the best fans in the world. I can't wait to get started and see you all soon.
And finally tonight, Lucinda Russell is known throughout the racing world as one of the sport's top trainers with 2 Grand National winners. But she's revealed she's reluctantly pulled all of her horses out of the Scottish Grand National this weekend. The trainer says her yard is undergoing a period of transition and has been speaking to our reporter, Callum Clark.
It's the biggest event in the Scottish racing calendar.
Surrey Quest coming back after 4 miles, it'll go to the judge.
And last year produced one of its closest ever finishes.
How's it getting on?
Now this year's Scottish Grand National will be without one of its top trainers.
Scottish National is a fantastic race meeting for us all to aim at, and we have been aiming Apple away at it all season, but she's just a little bit, she's had a long season, and I feel that it would be better to give her nice summer holiday now.
This is the horse Lucinda Russell had primed for the showpiece event this weekend. But after a poor showing in its last run-out, Apple Away, as well as 2 of Lucinda's other horses, will not run in the Scottish Grand National.
We've always been really well known for our staying chasers, so it was a bit odd not having a runner in the Grand National this year, nor the Scottish National. But we've got some lovely young horses coming through, and I think that was shown. We had a winner at the Cheltenham Festival with the young horse, first time novice chasing, and we've had a winners at the Aintree Festival, but again with novice hurdlers.
Best known for the likes of Grand National winner Corach Rambler, who's now enjoying retirement, Lucinda Russell says her yard is very much in a period of transition.
Before, we've always had sort of one really good horse, and I think what's exciting is that by keeping on pushing in at the bottom the nice new young horses, our quality is actually going up across the board, and that's been quite important for us. We've had some very, very good 2-mile chasers this year, as well as the stayers, and I think as a yard here and to sort of help racing in Scotland, we have to keep on having a number of good horses rather than just having one flagship.
But Lucinda Russell will still be at Ayr this week, her biggest hopes pinned on one of her up-and-coming talents.
Talk me through, who do we have here?
So this is a lovely horse. He's only 6 years old. He's called Walk On Quest, and he was good over hurdles, but ever since he's gone over fences, he's just blossomed, and he was second first time out at Perth, and then he won his next 4 races, which is a good effort for a young horse.
£500,000 in prize money will be dished out across the festival this week. Lucinda Russell won't be contending the showpiece event, but she's confident her young crop of horses could mix it in the years to come. Callum Clark, STV Sport.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Safe to say, John, there'll be a few long faces that Lucinda's horses won't be running this weekend. But we'll be down, we'll be live on Friday. It is cracking, one of the best days ever. The sun will be shining. I'm sure the clientele will be out in force as well. But no Lucinda, unfortunately.
No more puns. There was two in there.
The main event. This one knows it.
Cheers, Rory. Enough. Sean, how's the weather?
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Very good evening to you. Now, it was a wee bit of a slow start to the day because of this cloud here, which actually came all the way westwards through the central belt towards Loch Lomond, Renfrewshire and Glasgow earlier on. But through the day, it's been slowly breaking and moving its way back towards the east, so clear skies for most of us tonight. And again, rather chilly, wee touch of frost in some spots. Now, tomorrow, blue skies for most of us, although we will see some high-level cloud maybe coming into the far northwest later on, turning the sunshine a little bit hazy here. We don't need to worry about any cloud tomorrow because we've got a westerly, which means it keeps all that cloud away out in the North Sea. But because it's a westerly, we get to change the temperatures around a wee bit. Of course, the highest temperatures up until now have been across Argyll and Bute, the Highlands, because we've had an easterly airflow. But tomorrow, because it's a westerly, we see the warmer air around Fife, Perth and Kinross and Stirlingshire, up to highs of 19 or 20 degrees. So feeling lovely in that sunshine. Maybe the temperatures on the west coast, maybe just a degree or so down on where they've been recently, because here now, with that westerly, we've got the onshore breeze. Now, a lot of dry, bright weather Friday and also Saturday, especially further south and east you are. Temperatures not quite as high as they're going to be out there tomorrow, but 16, 17 degrees Celsius, still feeling pleasant, but we see more clouds spreading into the northwest. Big change coming by the time we get to Sunday. Showers, longer spells of rain, some heavy bursts at times, a lot fresher as well, and even some snow over the tops of the mountains. Bye-bye.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
Sean, we knew it couldn't last, didn't we? Don't forget, Scotland tonight at 10:40 from all of us here, though. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night.